So we start off with the debt exchange program because this afternoon the former Chief Justice Sophia Akufo appears to be in a warpath with President Akufo-Addo's cousin of a government's debt exchange program. Well, we do know that the Finance Ministry earlier today released an update on the program, assuring that persons who refuse to participate in the just-ended domestic debt exchange program, they will all be paid their outstanding coupons and maturing principals as well. But last week, that's where all of the warpath started. Gabi Asare-Otrida took to social media and, of course, to Justice Sophia Akufo to the cleaners when she described government's failure to exempt pension bondholders as wicked. And, of course, he went on to that Twitter page to indicate that the former Chief Justice aired big time. Of course, fast forward, Sophia Akufo returned this week and also launched some attacks. She, however, mounted a spirited defense for the need to exempt pensioner bondholders in this whole debt exchange program. My colleague James Aveji was there and interacted with the former Chief Justice.
He can decide on. He doesn't decide for me what I need to do and what I do not need to do. It's as simple as that. I don't have time for things like that. People like that are not important to me or to my life. It's a disturbance. That's all I've got to say about it.
What do you say to the new directive from government, the new statement coming from government that there is an option, a voluntary option that you can sign on and get your monies paid?
But that whole program is now over, isn't it? Yes, and we chose not to sign on to it. Now, the way things are going, what I sense and what I smell is the creation of two categories of people, or two classes of people. Those who have been exempted by the issuer. I think Doctor was very clear with the distinction. Yes, and then now they are calling those who refused to sign on to the debt exchange. They're calling them self-exempted. No, they simply refused to sign. They just simply want to stand by the original bond that they have with the government. And the word bond is not used as a casual term. Bond means tied to. My word is my bond. Yes. And when a government's bond can be tossed up and down, the tides like that, flip-flop, that's a serious thing. For me, my problem with this whole thing is the destruction of the image of this nation, and something that is being done which will last for generations. It took a long time before normal Ghanaians would even buy anything that is government, because there was always the suspicion, tomorrow you don't know what will happen. Now they are reintroducing that. All that needs to be done. And Doctor was talking about a letter, simple letter, that was written by the association to the minister. Exempt us from your program. I think that's the gist. I always like to distill things to their lowest common denominator. Exempt us, we are pensioners. Up to now, I've seen a copy of the letter. It's dated 7th January. According to Doctor, it was delivered on 10th January. Up to now, there's not even a note. I'm not even saying a letter, a note of acknowledgement. And yet, a few days ago, similar letters that had been written to the minister have been responded to, whereby he has categorically exempted other groups. Why? And when I cannot fathom the reason for something being done in a particular way, especially when it's been done for others, but it's not being done for others, I start getting suspicious. I've grown to be to the age where I've seen it all, and therefore I easily become suspicious. Gabi Ochiridako can call me paranoid. I don't care. We're talking about people, we're talking about human beings, we're talking about people who have served this country and have served well and served hard, not easy service. When you're not a member of government and you're calling yourself a member of government. So that's all I've got to say about this matter. That's why I'm still sitting here.
Okay, is there a mistrust for government where you cannot take government on its own word when it says it will honor your bond?
Paper talks. Paper talks. Empty talk flies with the wind. Yes. So a press release is one thing. A letter in response to a specific request is another thing altogether. Because when we've reached a point where we're feeling uncomfortable, even though we are holding government bonds, listen, it's a trust issue. Yes. That's certainly a strong option. For myself, I will. For myself, it will be Sophia Kufu versus, right? But not on behalf of the association. The association will have to make its decision. So we are waiting. When they become due, we shall see. But it will be better that for all of us, and for the nation too, that he responds to the letter that's been sent to him. Why? What's stopping, apart from pride, what else is stopping the issuance of a response to the letter?
Well, there are implications for governance. That's the fear of some experts, including Dr. Asah Asante with the University of Ghana. He's joining us via Zoom right now, and there's a need for us to also expand the conversation. Richard Ahiangba is Director of Communications for the New Patriotic Party. He's joining us via phone, and of course Benjamin Kwashi is a member of the NDC's Council of Elders in South Africa. Gentlemen, welcome to the program. Richard Ahiangba, let me start off with you. So the Chief Justice appears to be convicted about this whole approach by government, which he says is a wicked approach in terms of how you're failing, or very reluctant to issue an exemption for pensioner bondholders. But what's your take now that we have sort of like a warpath between the former Chief Justice and Mr. Gabi Asare Ochiridako, who you've actually worked for some time ago? Do you feel this is healthy for us?
Well, thank you very much. I didn't work for Gabi Asare Ochiridako. I worked with the Dankwa Institute, where he was former executive director.
Right. You worked with him. I should have said
yeah.
you worked with him.
I worked with him.
Right.
Yeah. And so I think your voice was rather low, and the question was that he's on a warpath with the former Chief Justice. Was that a question?
Yeah. Yes. Precisely.
Well, thank you very much. Very warm greetings to your viewers. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to come on Zoom, but I hope this would work for us. I don't think that anybody is on a warpath with anybody. It's a democratic space. The public square, as you can see, is getting very vibrant, and people are coming in and making their voice heard. It's good for the future of our democracy. It's good for the now conversation that we must have to nurture the future of our democracy. So to that extent, I don't think that anybody is on a warpath. It's about people sharing their opinions when they feel strongly about what is happening and they want to share their thoughts. I think that is a welcome conversation that the Chief Justice, the former Chief Justice, is engaging in. So to that extent, I don't see there is anything untoward. The substance of her conversation today, to be honest with you, I haven't listened much to what she said. I'm sure you played it, but I didn't catch most of it. But if that her former conversation is anything to judge, I think that she's opposed to the debt restructure and is concerned that people are being disadvantaged one way or the other the retirees. But so that's really what I hear you saying. But the whole process of debt restructure is not a pleasant experience or a pleasant undertaking by anyone, by the finance minister or the government altogether. But it's a necessary step that must be taken to get our economy to transition to where it must be. So it's a bitter pill that all of us are having to box ourselves in to try to do. And we must do that, not for ourselves, but we must do that for our future. And so on that score, I think that I just wanted to make the point that, yes, whilst it's okay for everyone to disagree and agree, we must also understand that it comes to a point that a decision must be made in the interest of the country, in the interest of the economy, in the collective interest. That's where I think we are, and that's where the finance minister is. That's where he is standing presently, trying to make a decision, however unpleasant, to make sure that our economy carries on and that we're able to regenerate the economy and for everyone to go back to where we were before, when the economy was growing vibrantly in 2017, 18, and 19. He was the same finance minister. It was the same economic management team, the same president. Something happened with COVID-19 that tipped everything over. We're trying to build back from that, bad spot. And so difficult decisions are having to be made. And I understand people's uneasiness with it, but it is not as though the finance minister is out to get anyone or government is out to get anyone. It's a necessary step we must take to be able to bring our economy back.
So what then are you suggesting? That the Chief Justice did not err in her comments?
Sorry, that she did not
err in the comments.
Well, I mean, like I say, I don't think I recall I heard the comment exactly. But in a democratic space, it's a question of agreeing or disagreeing. Whether or not she erred, I don't think that I would want to sit in judgment of. I would only want to say that if we do it, we disagree in moderation on the basis of democratic value, that people must be heard. I think that should suffice. As to whether people heard, I don't think that we should, I necessarily want to engage in judgment about what people say. But once it is respectful, it is engaging, it adds to the texture of conversation we want to have and doesn't take it overboard, I think that it should be entertained and people should have the space. After all, that enriches our democracy. And to that extent, I think that people are free to share their views. But what I want to emphasize, if he adds anything to your program, is to say that this is a difficult decision. Let alone to the government, we shouldn't be doing debt restructure, but it is an inevitable situation. It is one thing, if you don't do it, you can't carry on. And so that is the place from where we have to look at it. And even then, government did not tie everybody's hand and say it is either my way or the highway. Yesterday, I think I had a conversation where people are saying that government, the debt restructure is giving people one or two choices, take it or leave it. No. Government could have gone through the option of trying to legislate this process, but it didn't. It opened it up and left it to the choices of bondholders, elect to be in or out. And so that option is there. And that was all I was saying last Sunday. I think I had a chance to speak about this. And I was saying that, look, I don't get it that people who are demonstrating, because there's an essential decision that the state had to make to save all of us. Now, in making that choice, making that decision is giving all of us a choice to say, choose to be part of the restructure or choose not to be part. So it's not really necessarily a question of demonstrating. It's a question of expressing a democratic view of not wanting to be part of it and share why you don't want to be part. But if you create the impression as though government is doing something to punish Ghanaians, I don't get that, because you have the choice to be part of it or not to be part of it. And I think that we need to emphasize that and see that government belongs to all of us. And the decisions that government is making, substantially, it is for the larger interest of Ghanaians. And I think that if we proceed on that score, I've been talking to a lot of retirees, Blessed, and the sense I get is people want more information, they want to be engaged, they want to have opportunity to express, which is what they have. But every one of them that I've spoken to agree with the fact that, yes, we today must make a decision so our children will have a better life, because they know that their legacies are their children, their grandchildren. And so, therefore, they are willing to sacrifice for their children to have a better life.
And which group of, and I'm sorry, Richard.
We should engender this conversation.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Richard. Which group of pensioners were you speaking to? Because I'm not sure they are the same groups of people massing up each day at the finance ministry. You're speaking to obviously a different group, isn't it?
No, but they are retirees nonetheless. I mean, I'm sure you appreciate that it's not all the retirees that are demonstrating, right? I'm sure you agree that it's not every single retiree that is out there. That is not to discount the ones that are there, the validity of their democratic expression to be there. That is not to take away. But I'm telling you that the balance of the people I am talking to also, they have concerns, but realizes that if it came down to it, if it were them in charge of this economy and they have had to make a decision either to kick the can down the road for their children to fix it or take the responsibility and fix the economy, they would have chosen to do exactly what the finance minister is doing. So maybe when we are engaging some of them, we should substitute them in the decision-making chairs of our time and say that if you were the finance minister, I know, Blessed, this is one thing I don't think we have done enough of in this whole conversation, to ask those who are opposed to it and say, okay, well, if it came down to you, if you were in charge, what would you do? I think we should do some of that modeling and role play and see what alternatives people are bringing so that we can model that situation and be able to come up with a solution that is attainable. But I think that we have a solution, and that solution is working. You see the participation rates, very impressive, all thanks to Ghanaians for seeing the urgency and have answered the call in excess of 84%. Participation. That is admirable.
Very well. Would explore the political costs shortly, but I just want to take your thoughts on the point you made about how compulsory this debt exchange program is. When the finance ministry states in that official release earlier today that yes, they would honor the bonds in line with quote fiscal commitments, what's that supposed to mean?
That they would, was it the statement released today?
Yes, precisely, yes.
Right, and that is talking about the fact that committed to honoring paying the coupon rate and the principal of maturity.
But there's an additional line that would be in line with fiscal commitments of the government.
Oh, but I mean, I think that's a nebulous point. What is substantial in that is that government has reaffirmed its commitment to say that when we have agreed for people to participate in swapping their bonds, those who have not, that commitment remains that when their bonds mature, both the coupon and the principal upon maturity will be paid. That is substantial for me.
I get that. I get that part. But I'm pressing on to talk about the fact that there's an add-on in line with fiscal commitments. What's that supposed to mean?
Well, that
you would not give them priority?
That could mean any number of things. But what is clear in that statement without equivocation is the idea that government is committed to paying the coupon and the principal upon maturity. So I would take what is clear and not worry my head too much about what is nebulous and does not have effect on what is in that I am interested in. So I think that we should go and assure Ghanaians that yes, government's commitment remains true. The fidelity of the state is to pay the coupons that the bonds that did not participate, they'll be paid. Both principal and coupon will be paid as and when they fall due. So that for me is substantial, and that's where we should place our emphasis.
The final leg of it, the political cost. This, of course, you agree you would pay dearly for in the 2024 elections as a party, don't you?
Well, thank you. Buzzard, I think that you saw that in 2020, we suffered some casualty to do with the bold decision to restructure to clean up the banking sector. This government is involved and always is committed to ensuring that if the government must engage in doing things that are consequential that help fix this economy long term. And so it's a difficult decision. Government could have chosen to do any number of things. For example, to say that, okay, we're going to cut infrastructure spending, right? You can do that simply. And then so that you have create the fiscal room there with that capex expenditure to be able to run the economy and do any number of things. But you see that is not in the larger interest of the country. And if MPP doesn't do it, I submit to you, and on a different platform, I was saying that there's a fundamental difference between the MPP and the NDC. The MPP takes bold decisions, things that have consequential effect on its own political future. We do that because we believe that if we are able to transition and go past that hurdle, we are able to create a better environment upon which the electorate will look and vote for us. So I think that this is one of those difficult policy decisions that this government is taking, counting on the support of Ghanaians to say that we must do it for our children, and hopefully we'll see through the results and then be able to reward the party electorally for it.
Okay,
but it's necessary, and government is doing it because it's the right thing to do for the country.
Richard, just hold on for me briefly, because I guess the NDC disagrees with you on that. They have a different view on that. Benjamin, you're also on with us. What's your take on this assurance? At least government says they'll honor the bonds. So why is your party worried?
Blessed, thank you for the opportunity. I've been listening to my brother Richard Ahiagba, and I see his difficulty in facing the truth. The reality on the ground is that the former Chief Justice has clearly indicated that, look, this government is not one that you can trust. This government is not one that you can go home and believe that whatever they are doing in terms of the debt structure, it's something that would inure to the benefit of the pensioners. Why do I say this? We were in this country when the Nana Bawumia administration sold bonds in the name of COVID-19. They go ahead, misapply the funds. Auditor General comes, gives us a report. They come back and say that, you know what, in the name of domestic debt exchange program, let's all, we can't pay coupons, come on board, let's see what we can do. But the arrogance with which they are doing it, the arrogance, the sheer arrogance is so nauseating that even the former Chief Justice is saying it. Richard is saying that Ghanaians should have to believe that the party is doing what is necessary. They take bold initiative. Which bold initiative is Richard talking about? Which of the bold initiative? We have a president who said that he was coming on board to fight corruption with the Anas principle, and today he clears people out of corruption. We have a president who said that he would do everything in his power to stop the galamsey. What has happened to it? What is Richard saying? That they take on popular policies that end up making them not win votes or whatever.
But I guess he's saying that because of the times in which we find ourselves. The finance minister was clear on that. You need the economy working so you can pay the bondholders. Goes without saying.
We should pay for their recklessness. We should pay for the MPP's recklessness. The recklessness with which this government has dissipated the public accounts, the public funds. It's so unbelievable. Yes, the finance minister wants all of us to come on board and help. Why is the finance minister, even if Richard is saying that he has a government that listens to the people, we are saying that in the first place, Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta is the one who has led us into this ditch. What is he doing? Why do we allow him again to say he's the one who led us there and he is the only one who can bring it outside? You see the frustration of the former Chief Justice when he says that she doesn't want to talk about Gabi Asare-Oturedakun. It's simple. We are tired with the way that this government is going about solving the economic crisis that we find ourselves in. Why are we tired? We are tired because we have seen from the Auditor General's report that when we were crying that it was COVID, it was the Russia-Ukraine war, it was not. We made money, we dissipated it, and we did things that could not inure to the benefit of the ordinary Ghanaian. What is Richard talking about? The Ghanaian people are wide awake now. We are saying that if you want us to help in developing the country, if you want us to help in coming out of the dungeons that we find ourselves, show leadership. Richard should tell me one single thing that the MPP administration and Nana Addo and Bawumia have done to indicate that they have made ABC sacrifices. And because of that, we should do.
Regardless, the finance minister says, I'll honor the bonds, except that I'll do that within the fiscal commitments of government. That's reassuring enough. Or you don't believe them?
Blessed, you asked Richard some few minutes ago that what does that mean? He told you that he's not going to talk about that because for him, he believes that in the right frame of what the government believes to be the right thing, they will honor these people. They would honor the payment to them. But you see, what is written there that is going to be of much concern to all of us, especially to the pensioners and then the individual bondholders, for them to be able to believe that they can take the finance minister. The president told us that there was not going to be any haircuts. The finance minister, Gabi and Co, said there was never going to be a haircut. Today we have it. President Mahama was right when he said it. They laughed at him. They said, no, he's just a doomsayer. But today, the reality has fallen on us. We wouldn't trust them until they do what is necessary and we see them leading by example. Then as citizenry, we can all come together to build the economy that we all envisage to have.
Yeah, we all want to build the economy, and that's why the finance minister is doing this. At least now we've met that target of the 80% threshold for the domestic debt exchange program. So why not support the government to roll out the IMF program? Let's get more funding in, and then we can honor the bonds of the pensioners.
Get the funding in so that they can continue to do friends and family government. Get the funds in so that they can continue spending the way they want to spend without accountability to any of the institutions in the country. This government needs to be held responsible. They are, you know, sometimes you look at this administration and you ask yourself, where did we go wrong as Ghanaians? Because obviously everything they do is about themselves, not the ordinary Ghanaian. So if we are all going to do whatever we have to do to ensure the economy works, we should make sure that we hold them accountable. And I'm so happy about what the former Chief Justice is doing. Now, voices are rising. Voices are coming to say, look, you cannot intimidate us anymore. You cannot do things the way you want to do. The last time on this program, I remember one of the doctors, Amwaku Niyama, was saying that, look, President Anado is running Ghana as if he's running his personal business. Unfortunately, this is not the time for him to do that. And we in the NDC are not going to allow him to do that because we believe that the country is for all of us. He has run us to this ditch. And if he wants us all to help, things need to be done in the right way.
Richard, your take. Richard, are you still with us? It appears we've lost Richard there, but Dr. Asante would also be joining us. Of course, there are concerns that this development, having the Chief Justice, of course, intervene and also make a comment on this, has some implications for us. But Benjamin, the point about how we're beginning to see, of course, the likes of the former Chief Justice, we also have the former Vice Chancellor, Pro-Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana also joined this. The elite community is beginning to join this. For you, what does that signify to you?
It signifies one clear thing, that the voices of conscience have now gotten their voices and they are going to join all of us in ensuring that we hold this government accountable. Look, people have had enough. People have you know, they have told themselves that enough is enough. Whatever should happen, should happen. Look, in the year 2016, thereabout, Gabi Asariot had a tweet where he says, if running an economy was all about borrowing, then a half-wit can be a president. Today, can that Gabi still stand by those statements? I believe that we have a half-wit as president in Nanado because we've borrowed and borrowed and borrowed, and we don't even know what we've used the borrowed monies for. Richard couldn't maintain or couldn't mention one single thing that all the monies that are near to this government. Remember, not under any dispensation have they made so much revenue than the MPP administration, but they are the administration that has nothing to show for all the monies that we've given to them in form of taxes, in form of bonds, and all of that. This government is a monumental failure.
You're throwing that challenge to Richard. Richard, the question about what we're using, of course, the funding for. We keep borrowing, no evidence to show for it. And I guess the pensioners are saying we've sacrificed too much for you to be taking our own investment.
Well, I wanted to just react briefly to what my co-panelist, I think from the NDC side, said earlier. There's some fundamental, of course, the bonds, the restructure has gone through a lot of phases to where principally what the president said effectively is what has happened, that there is no haircut. You know that for the over 59 and then under 59 bondholders who are subscribing to the 5-year term bond, which is maturing 2027, 2028, the interest that they are getting, 10% and 15% respectively, that is just a reduction of, say, for example, if you're supposed to get 19, 20% on their investment annually, and they are getting now 10 and 15. In 2027 and 2028, when their bond matures, the lost interest for the 5 years is capitalized and paid on maturity to them. So fundamentally, there is no haircut either on interest or on the principal, which was said earlier. So I think we need to emphasize that. People still are stuck in the original construct where it was as if this was not there. So the new agreement, actually, there is effectively no haircut. What there is, in essence, which I think that is a sacrifice and burden sharing that is being called for, is that the delaying of the coupon, the extension of the term of the bonds, and then maybe the reduction, the temporary reduction in the coupon rate is what principally that is being called, people are being called upon to sacrifice. So let's understand that and then appreciate that it's a difficult situation that the economy is in, and we're trying to work together to dig it out. Now, I hear the thing also about, I don't know, was it Dr. Asante who just spoke?
Yes, Benjamin question, yes.
Okay. Well, see, the thing about we have borrowed, we don't know what we have used the money for, it's a fallacy. And then I think you in the media should try and engage this conversation properly. We have parliament. It's not as if finance minister, government just gets up and then spend money without going through processes. So we need to discourage that kind of conversation, political talk in our country. We know the right thing. There is no way anybody can touch public funds without going through proper allocation. There's a budget. Parliament approves that budget. The finance minister spends from that budget. Anything that government spends on is documented. So what is this conversation about we have borrowed, we don't know what we use the money for? That we should encourage that. Some of this conversation, let's not always start from the beginning. As for this fact, we know that yes, you cannot spend public money without going through certain processes. So we know that process. So if anybody comes to your studio and say we don't know how they have spent the money they have borrowed, we don't know, you just tell them no. You know that. If you don't know that, it shouldn't be on my program because you should be understanding of the process. You should know that.
I guess.
So the point we're saying
I guess the point is about. I guess the point is about accountability.
Let me just say this and I'll pause for you.
Yeah, but Richard, I guess the point is about accountability. Yes.
Is that they are refusing to accept the impact of COVID-19 on our economy. 2017 is economic growth, 2018, 2019. And in 2020, in a fiscal year, the economy tanked 0.4%. Okay? What happened? Can people apply analysis to it and say that if 2017, 18, 19, the economy was growing, if you hold everything constant, that obtained in 2017, 18, and 19, would you not conclude that in 2020 this economy will grow as well? But something happened, and that thing is COVID-19. Why are people denying that? We should hold people accountable to the conversation. They cannot just say these things loosely and walk away.
Yeah, but it's not about making a loose point. Yeah, but Richard, it's not about making a loose point. The point is about, putting whatever we've borrowed into capital expenditure, something that would bring forth returns to the country. We've not seen that over the years as much, right? Because capital investments reduced over the years. You're spending more than you're investing in capital expenditure. That's a fact. You agree?
Oh, but you are here. The last time they went to the committee, the individual bond committee that was tasked to find ways to address this, they said we should cut capital expenditure. Now, this government should not be spending.
It was just part of the alternative.
27 billion.
Richard, it was just part of the alternative.
If a government is not spending on capital expenditure, why do we have a situation where we say he should cut capital expenditure? You see, these are convenient conversations people have to run away from the reality of the time. This government is expended. In fact, in terms of infrastructure road construction, we have constructed more kilometers of road than the NDC did in combined 8 years. So this thing about what have they done, we don't know, it is always an excuse to run away because they know that as you and I speak now, I cannot get all that facts and give you. So they'll say this thing and walk away. But you know that. Let's have a conversation one day. Let's bring the budget from 2017 till now and look into that budget and see capital expenditure allocations for it. Okay, and take their budget and look for it. And then let's now have an analysis. Let's think and do that. But the point is that it's never true when they keep saying this, that, they are borrowed, we don't know what they use it for. They sit in parliament, aren't they? They sit in parliament. We all sit in parliament. So how can they ever say that we spend money and they don't know about it? That means they're not doing their job in parliament. Okay, so please, let's have this conversation with respect. We need to create a space for people to dissent, people to advance our democratic rights. So that's good. This debt restructure is a difficult conversation for the government. We would have chosen an easier way out, but government feels that we should do a sustainable process of making sure that by 2028, we'll bring our debt to GDP ratio to about 55%. Okay. A huge fiscal space that will be created to advance the development of this country. Okay. I think that's a good thing. Long term, this is going to yield great value. The same way, President, I'm telling you that in the next 15 or the next 20 years, you are going to be confronted with graduates, them professors, them doctors, and the rest, who have benefited from free SHS. And I'm looking forward to a day that NDC will have the conversation in this country that free SHS was a bad idea. We are investing in the future of this country. The goal of this government is to say that let's build this country to last. And what we have to do is, one, invest in our people. And that investment is underway. And I pray that soon enough we'll come to rally and support this government because its vision is not just today, it's long term.
You have the individual bondholders very soon, in just a space of 5 to 7 days, joining the pensioner bondholders. Would you be able to contain this pressure, the pressure that will be mounting soon?
No, I mean, listen, it's not a question of pressure. It's a question of us sitting to discuss the future of our country. What is it we want to do? Do we want the economy to crash? We want to come out of this resolute and robust. If those are the two options on the table, how do we get there? People should bring their ideas and see how we build together. It is not a fight. It's an invitation to dialogue. And this whole restructure thing has been constructed that way. That let's find a way out. And most of the stakeholders that are engaged have come up with propositions. Those propositions have been accommodated. And you will agree that at the start, the initial proposition from government was 0%, zero coupon rate in 2023. The ministry has moved past that way past that point, where we are paying coupon rates 2023 and paying them all the way through. It was originally supposed to be 15 years. It's now been brought to 5 years effectively. And so it is evolved. What has made it possible is the continuous dialogue. So if anybody is coming to the table again, that's a familiar conversation. We'll sit and see what is possible, what is practically doable will be considered. And I think that this government is not up to get anyone. The idea is not to punish anybody. The idea fundamentally is to solve a problem for our country.
Okay.
Position our economy on such a footing that we can take off and grow.
All right, then.
You know, in 2018, 2019, this economy was hailed as one of the fastest growing economies in the world. We want to get back there. We know Ghanaians deserve better. We'll have to take the tough decisions now to ensure that our posterity have a better stake in the global community.
Okay, Richard, thank you. Benjamin, for you, what's your take on that?
Let me correct Richard here. In 2018, 2019, when the economy was doing well, it was because of the investment President Mahama made in the infrastructure and in our energy sectors that are near to the benefit of the government in 2018, 2019. Now, Richard is claiming that, look, when we have a discussion, we shouldn't say that we don't see what they've used monies for. You see the arrogance. You see the arrogance that they still display. Richard knows very well that this government has spent money that Parliament, some of which Parliament have not even approved. They go to contingency fund, they go to other sources of money and income. They take funds and they say they are doing ABC projects. Today, Richard is saying that the MPP wants all of us as Ghanaians to come on board because the economy has run into a ditch. But when they were engaged in profligate spending and we were warning them, we were telling them that, look, you are doing things that will let the economy run down. We said everything from Parliament, from statements that former President John Mahama issued. They never listened. Today, when we find ourselves in the ditch, you are telling us that we should be Ghanaians. So we'll be Ghanaians again, we'll help, the economy will come back on its feet, and then we come to tell you, look, do A, do B, do C, and they'll tell us, no, they are not doing it. Is this what Richard is calling? This is the consensus building that he's talking about? No, we can't run an economy like this. We have stated time without number that to run the economy and to ensure that we all grow together, come up with a national dialogue, bring the experts in so that we can all talk and decide and say, look, it is for Ghana, it is our development. When the economy runs down, it's for everybody, irrespective of political coloration. But the MPP government has made it so well clear that you cannot trust them. Because whatever you say, if it doesn't, how many times have we not spoken about the reckless borrowing of this government and stated that, look, you're going for bonds, you're going for this at very outrageous rates. They didn't listen because they thought the opportunity was there for them to borrow. So they were on the borrowing spree. He's talking about COVID. Yes, COVID happened. But has he read the Auditor General's report? He's telling us that we shouldn't talk about any other thing. We should talk about free SHS. But the Auditor General's report is there. Every MP, Richard has run away from discussing contents of the Auditor General report because the allegations there are not mere allegations. They are truths that indicate to all of us as Ghanaians. That is why perhaps that anger is now coming out because everybody has seen that, oh, MPP was hiding under the shadows of COVID. And today we've seen that it was their reckless expenditure, recklessness when it comes to fiscal discipline, recklessness when it came to ensuring that they protect the public fund. They've never done it. And today we are here. So Richard should be happy that we are giving them solutions to the problem we find ourselves in. They should come down from their high horse. The arrogancy is too much. We as Ghanaians are facing the difficulties. Unless Richard is staying in a different planet and he's telling us that everything is well. There's nothing well with the Ghanaian people. We are all suffering and we need to ensure that we hold our governments accountable. And just like the former Chief Justice has said, everything should be documented. Everything should be put down on paper because you cannot trust Oforiatta. You cannot trust Nana Addo. You cannot trust Bawumia. They are quiet now because everything they said, they are doing the opposite of it. And they think that Ghanaians should just say, oh, it's fine. We'll take the normal haircut. Oh, in 10, 15 years, you pay us. Now they talk 10, 15 years. In yesteryears, when President Mahama was president, every single day they talk, oh, next year, what is going to happen? The coming up years, what is going to happen? Right. President Mahama did things that has inured to the benefit of the Ghanaian people. The MPP took credit in 2018, 2019. Now that it was left in their hands, we are in a ditch. They have taken us here, and they must ensure that they do things right so that the Ghanaian people will come out from this economic doldrums that they find themselves in.
I'm grateful, Benjamin Kwashi, for joining us. Also to Richard Ahiangba. Unfortunately, we've not been able to get Dr. Asante. Apologies, we had some challenges with the connection there. But as we stay on the story, the pension bondholders have resolved to continue their protest over the failure of the finance minister to issue an exemption. Dr. Edu Anani Entry has been speaking to my colleague James Aveji.
What is preventing the minister from responding to our letter that we wrote? If now you know you have exempted us, or if you think what you have brought out to the public amounts to exemption, what is your difficulty taking a letter and writing to the pensioners that I refer to your letter so and so, please be assured that your bonds are exempted. The word exempted, if the minister doesn't want to use the word, the problem will not be solved. If the minister refuses to use the word exempted, you have been exempted, as the minister used for the pension funds and the doctors fund, this matter will not end. Just use the word, I have exempted you. It doesn't change what is available now. You now have your 80. We are not going to tender in anyway. Nobody is going to bring it. It is still in the old bonds. Why is the minister finding it difficult to respond to our letter and just tell us that you have been exempted? This is what we want the minister to do. And I have told the minister in a meeting last Friday that he knows. I know he has worked in the securities market. He knows. And I have been in the securities market, so I know that there is a difference between when the issuer has exempted you and when you have exempted yourself. We did not decide to exempt ourselves. We're waiting for the minister to exempt us. He didn't exempt us, and once the period is closed, we become self-exempted people. That is not what we want. We want the minister to respond to our letter, the petition we sent, which was delivered to his office on the 10th of January 2023. He has the address there. He should just address a letter to us as he addressed a letter to the Medical Association people and just say pensioners has been exempted from the DDG, and that will end the matter. Otherwise, we will continue to fight until that word is used by the minister in a letter to us. That is the end of my submission, and I'll wait to answer questions.
Dr. Anche, so per what you have said now, does it mean that you believe that although government says there is no money, it will still get some money to pay those that it has said it has exempted, for which you are forcing to get onto that list?
Yes, I have said that in the securities market, in this bonds market, when the issuer has exempted you, and there is little money that cannot go around all of you, the issuer will first treat the people that the issuer itself said, I have exempted you. And that is where we want to be.
Okay. Why don't you wait? Government says that it is reassuring you that they will pay your coupons and principals when they are due. Why don't you wait? The time you are able to pay, then you take that.
The government has not said it is not going to pay. For it to come and say, well, now I will pay. No. I say that assurance is at the beginning of the issuance of the bond. The assurance that government gives, or whoever issue bonds or any other loan security gives, is that when the time comes, I'll pay you your interest and I'll pay you your principal on maturity. So that assurance is there. It's already there, and it's just renewing it. So we have that assurance. So as I sit here, I know the government must pay me. The government can't run from that obligation. The worst the government will do is to default and for people to take you to court. So that obligation is there. It's just looking at it. But the priority, I'm saying that if you exempt me, I have a better position than if I have exempted myself. And I have explained it. And I have said the minister knows that. Why is the minister not coming out and say, you have exempted you? Why would the minister still want the elderly people to be gathering here refusing to use the word "I have exempted you," which he has used just recently, 2 or 3 days ago, used in the letter he authored for the Medical Association people. That look, you have been exempted. Why didn't the minister say opt out? And I promise I'll pay you all your dues all your principal and coupon when it's due. Why didn't the minister give them that assurance? We want the minister to treat us the way he has treated the pension funds and the people who are yet to come on pension. These are people's money that they are yet to be given this money to come on pension. And you are protecting them. And you don't want to give the same protection to people who are already on pensions and are having that money. I can't understand the logic in this position that the minister is taking. The minister should just exempt us. We understand all that he has said. If it is okay, you should have said that the same thing to the pension funds. You should have said the same thing to the Medical Association people just last 3 days and wrote to them that please, you can opt out. And if you self-exempt yourself, I'll still be paying you your coupons and your principals. Why didn't the minister tell the Medical Association the same thing he wants to tell us now? We want to be exempted just like the pension funds and the Medical Association's pension. These are all pension funds. Has been exempted. We want to be exempted.
Let's focus.